Hey guys, welcome back to Fam Sports. Today we're going to dive into something that's a little unprecedented for us. Usually we're covering football and basketball, kind of sports like that. We're going to dive into the WNBA and the Caitlin Clark saga.
Oh, she's so fun, dude.
She's fun to watch. I have never really paid attention to college basketball, completely honest. I watched when Rebecca Lobo was playing, and Caitlin Clark brought me back to the sport.
She did.
When she played for Iowa, I mean, that was the first time I was watching women's basketball games over men's basketball games during March Madness. And I mean, that's the first time I think in a long time that a lot of people were doing that. And she's not, I don't feel like in certain areas, she's not actually getting the respect that she deserves. But she's very humble.
Oh, yeah. Extremely likable player.
Yes, and I think that's one thing that's very hard for other WNBA players to handle. I think a couple of them have made the transition, and you've seen it, and you've seen after they played together, the respect is mutual there. But there's still a couple that are kind of on the outside and going, well, I'm good too, so why aren't I? What about me? What about me? Well, it's not about you; it's about the sport.
Exactly.
And that's how Caitlin Clark sees it. I believe it's never been about Caitlin Clark.
No.
You know, it's always been about the team. It's always been about the sport of basketball with Caitlin Clark. And I do think that she is probably 1 or 2 right now for Rookie of the Year. I think Angel Reese, depends on who you ask. Angel Reese is 1. Caitlin Clark is 2. In my personal opinion, I think Caitlin Clark is 1. Angel Reese is probably 2.
Yeah.
And not taking anything away from Angel Reese. She's been doing great all year.
She has been.
But Caitlin Clark just has something. She was picked to the worst team in the WNBA. I think Angel Reese was drafted 8 or 10. She's with Chicago. Chicago is definitely not the worst team by any means in the WNBA. And it would basically be taking the no-win, I don't know how to put it, the no-win Lions.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden getting them to the playoffs by adding 1 player. Yeah. And that's what Caitlin Clark has done with the Indiana Fever. There's such a drastic ability, a drastic ability between every WNBA team, and the Fever were definitely on the bottom of that. Adding Caitlin Clark has pushed them into a chance to the playoffs. Yeah, I think they are. I think they would be, if it would end right now, they would be in the playoffs. I think they're over the Chicago Sky. Correct?
Yep, they're over the Chicago Sky. Yep.
So the Caitlin Clark's team is actually better than Angel Reese's team. So the things that I'd like to kind of go over right now, Caitlin Clark is averaging 17.1 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, and 8 assists, and 1.5 steals. Her turnovers are 5.6. Her turnovers, they've always been an issue. Yeah, they were an issue in Iowa. Yeah, but she doesn't seem to turn the ball over during the crunch time. You never see her on ESPN or any of the other sports platforms where she's actually losing the game during the turnovers. She's trying to create offense and push the ball, move the ball fast. And I would say 90% of the girls, unless they played with her, 90% of the women actually don't know how to play with someone like that. Yeah. And I think
it's tough playing, I don't want to say second fiddle, but it's like at the end of the day, like they know that it all runs through Caitlin Clark. Get her the ball, let her do her thing. And I mean, it's working for them.
And when she's trying to push, that's when you're really not paying attention. You're not looking for a pass from half court down low. You know, it's definitely something to get used to. But I think as these Indiana Fever girls, women grow and start playing more together, I think that's going to be a team that's going to be really hard to beat.
Really tough.
Aaliyah Boston is really good, and they're still looking at a top 10 pick right now. Yeah. So, and the girls that are up for the NBA draft next year are pretty solid.
Pretty stacked, yeah.
So, what do you think about Caitlin Clark's snub to the Olympics?
I think it hurts. I feel like it hurts a league that, like, let's just face it. When we talk about the most watched between the WNBA and the NBA, like the NBA is most watched. We understand that. The WNBA suffered for a long time. Like, it just didn't have the viewership. It just did not have the accolades of the NBA.
It costs money to have it.
And it costs money to have it.
They're finally floating themselves because of Caitlin Clark.
And I do think that it goes hand in hand with, like, if you're good, we want to watch you. And so Caitlin Clark has brought so much to the game. She is like almost like the female version of Steph Curry. Like she's just the way that she's plays the game, the shooter mentality, but she's also
she reminds me of a young Kobe.
Yeah, but the killer mentality. Yeah, exactly. And the way you just love to see her handle herself in the interviews after the game. It's never even at Iowa when she would have a good game. It wasn't when she would go and drop 40. It wasn't I just really hit my stroke tonight. It was my teammates really set up a good shot. My teammate Christy hit an 11-footer that really helped us pull ahead, and like. It was never about her, and that just makes it so much easier to play for when you're with her. But as far as the snub for, not making the Olympic team, I think it's. I'm going to use a Stephen A term. It's blasphemous. This is. How do you not have the player that has? And I'm being honest. Like I have actually started watching the NBA. I know you have. I know a lot of my other buddies have because of Caitlin Clark. It is not because it's because of just the way she plays the game. Like it's a lot more fun to watch than let's look at it this way. The way she plays the game, shooting those 30-footers and nailing them in crunch time, that's a lot more fun to watch than a girl hitting a layup or grabbing a rebound. Like that's just it is what it is. Like that's just a fact. Like for instance, even with the guys, it's a lot more fun to watch a guy dunk a basketball than go in for that's just it is what it is, And so I think what it comes down to is the fact that it is blasphemous. You have somebody that has come in and kind of almost in a way revitalized the sport or kind of give it the shot in the arm that it needs. And there's some good players, Angel Reese, and there's a couple of other ones that have helped out as well. But I mean, Caitlin Clark has come in and she has completely helped change around this league, and I think it's fantastic. And I think it is a huge travesty to not see her on the Olympic team.
And honestly, Caitlin Clark's teammate that didn't even think she was going to be drafted and was drafted during draft night has been huge for the WNBA as well. So there's a couple girls in there that have embraced it and have made the WNBA better. There's some girls in there that have "what about me" attitudes, and unfortunately, that just hurts the WNBA.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear the best players. We pick the best players for the Olympics. That's crap. I do know that because Cooper Flagg's sitting there playing with the Olympic team right now. Cooper Flagg. If you guys don't know who Cooper Flagg is, he's a high school kid. He's a first-year college kid playing with the men's team.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that when you pick the Olympics, it's what's going to get people to watch the Olympic Games. It's viewers. It is. That's what it comes down to. It's viewership. And if you're not smart enough to understand that, then you should look at what the WNBA was. It's not. You guys stood around. You guys stayed around because the NBA funded you guys. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just black. That's what it is.
Yep.
And I hate saying it, but you guys the WNBA stayed the WNBA because the NBA floated you guys. Yep. You guys are now able to stand on your own and you guys are selling out arenas. That's awesome. But Caitlin Clark is a huge reason for that. You need to add her to the team.
Exactly. And I mean, we just talked about it. We are watching the game now because of a player like that. Mm-hmm. How do you not add the player that's literally helped bring in a ton of views for a league that, let's face it, just didn't have the viewership before, and now it's like you can see it even on social media. Like people are sharing stuff, they are liking stuff, they are buying jerseys, they are doing all of this kind of stuff to support the WNBA.
They continue to drop the ball because I mean, there's a certain player on there that I think we all know was traded for. Let's just say traded for. That is on the Olympic team. That automatically splits 50-50. The country views 50-50. Mm-hmm. I know people that I've talked to and they said, nope, I will not watch the Olympics because the player that was traded for is on that team.
Yep. And
a lot of military members and a lot of other people that I know, a lot of veterans, don't feel the need for that. They're not going to watch it. They would. So I mean, it's not. You're not trying to make a statement.
No.
You need to just get viewership and get people in the door. Create that. You guys aren't. It's not. You're looking at 18.9 million viewers.
Yeah.
Since Caitlin Clark.
This is the national championship game. They talked about being one of the most. And this was more than I believe. This was even more than the actual March Madness with the men's division.
It was. The girls were watched more than the men's. Were.
So it's like. You can't sit here and tell me that a player of Caitlin Clark's caliber didn't contribute to that. It literally got watched more than the men's. I have never in my life watched the watch the girls in their national championship game. I did this year as opposed to the boys. That's just what it is, or the men, excuse me. So, and the women too. Again, I apologize for that too. But at the end of the day, let's call a spade a spade. This is a special player. Like, we're already seeing the way she conducts herself, the way she plays. It's crazy. Like, we have not seen anything like this in a long time, and so I think that it really needs to be given a lot of kudos needs to be given to Caitlin Clark. And it's just
the WNBA has seen 1,000% increase in sales of T-shirts, hoodies, jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
The top 5 selling is Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Sabrina Ioscu, Kate Martin, which is that player I was talking about with Iowa, and then Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the 4 after Caitlin Clark has still sold more jerseys than those 4 together.
Case in point, make her up.
Yeah,
like, that's all you need to say. And this is not in any way an attack on Angel Reese or any of these other players. It's more of just a fact of, like, the simple fact is, if you play better and if you are a special player like Caitlin Clark, you get the viewership. And Angel Reese and them are really good players, but I don't think they're on the level that Caitlin Clark is. And therefore, because she did not make the Olympic team, it makes zero sense to me. It absolutely makes zero sense to me. So,
because I'd like to point out the person that was traded for, that's on the Olympic team, is averaging 18 points a game, 6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and 0.6 steals.
Mm-hmm.
So Caitlin Clark's numbers are better.
Yeah.
And she's a center.
Yeah.
That's a center. Caitlin Clark is out rebounding a center.
Yeah. It's like, if she's just a shooter, then why is she grabbing rebounds too?
Yeah. Like Caitlin Clark is an all around great player. And I don't want, it's blasphemy that you can sit here and say that you guys picked the best girls. You guys obviously didn't. Caitlin Clark is one of the top talents of the WNBA.